How amazing. But what's amazing is that you were constantly doing this research, and then all of a sudden, how did Miles step into the picture? And how did that lead into Bitches Brew? How did that all come about?
Before Miles came into the picture, we have to look at, I was freelancing around New York, and I played with Eddie Carter, Bill Evans.
Well, Bill Evans, Freddie Hubbard.
But Miles, I had an opportunity to play with Miles before I officially joined him. And there was a time when Tony was unavailable to work with Miles. Miles had come around to Slugs, that was on the Lower East Side, the jazz club there. Yeah. And I was playing with Jackie McLean. And it was actually to Jackie McLean that Tony Williams got the job with Miles, because Jackie hired Tony and Miles heard Tony. And Miles came down to hear me play, and Jackie said to me, he said, Miles is going to hire you one day. He says, we got the same taste in drummers.
So Miles heard you there, and
yeah, and so I got the call to play with Herbie and Wayne and Ron Carter.
What was that like? We had Ron here doing a talk with him, and it's just so deep to hear some of the stories. And all these names that you're mentioning, that's part of what I like about this series of these younger musicians listening to it. As you mention these names, I want them to do the research. And Sun Ra, go do the research of who these great musicians were, and have them do their homework for it. So you hook up with Miles now, you're playing. How did Bitches Brew come into the picture?
Well, this was around the time, we were talking about Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
So Hendrix was around that time, and I believe then the atmosphere for experimentation in music in a lot of the different genres was kind of crossing over.
Yeah.
And we had the FM stations were now, was the new frontier, so to say, so to speak.
Yeah.
This was a period of creativity in the recording studio with Miles, where he gathered, his favorite musicians on the perspective instruments, like drums and reeds, bass, percussion. And of course, his producer, Tio Macero, who's underrated for the productional contributions he made to Miles' music, organizing it. So Miles was in a creative mood, a process of utilizing the studio to go in every day and experiment with grooves. I mean, a lot of the music is not that structured, in terms of like A, B, C.
Form,
form. And so it's a matter of grooves and sometimes a few notes or a few melodies. And when the groove got right, he turned the tape on and just let it roll. And when it got right, he would cue a soloist in and then take it out. And so the tape would just be rolling. So documented the work in progress. So days and days and days of this, just would go on. We never thought about how important these records would be.
Yeah.
It was just, it was important because Miles was there, and he was, moving forward with something different in his concept. If you listen to it, a lot of it is the simplicity of the music, but the grooves are what's happening, and then he was utilizing acoustic and electric bass.
And electric instruments, the grooves was just so deep. It was just such and you could kind of feel everyone speaking to each other within the music.
Well, that process really, a lot of the pop groups, that's what they did. But they spent an even longer time, playing the groove over and over and over until it's set in the right place. But this was a little different in terms of getting that spontaneity as the groove is developing. And capturing it on recordings, and then editing it and putting it together so it told the story, in the best way possible.
Well, what classic music that was. It's just around forever and still as fresh now as it was back in the 60s, which is beautifully powerful. Were you still playing piano at the time? Were you doing some composition at the time?
I mean, I was playing the piano, but not working with it. I just used it.
Dom Famularo here, the Sessions panel. This is so exciting. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Click the subscribe button to be a part of what we're doing. The views help us tremendously. All of your comments, we read them and react to them. This is incredible. The support you're giving us is great. The Sessions panel. We'll see you real soon.